2 years ago at Thanksgiving, I completely ghosted my brother. And I ghosted my brother because he was in town and his kid was here and he wanted us to go to a bounce club and do something with the kids. And I just couldn't bear it. I couldn't bear it because I didn't want to spend all the money taking my kids somewhere when I just had no business whatsoever. I didn't want to pay the entry fee. It seemed like too much money to spend at the time. And I was so stressed. I didn't want to be around all that chaos. Every single person around me, including my own mother, told me, you're going to get business. You're going to get business. You're going to be just fine. But I did not feel like that. I was dying inside. I had quit my job in September and I had been floundering, but I'd been doing a lot. I'd been putting out content. I was writing for Search Engine Land, or maybe I hadn't even gotten that yet. Maybe I had just gotten that because I was putting out content. I was going on people's blogs and doing guest posting. I was saying yes to every podcast interview that I could do. And I was even hosting podcasts with the Paid Search Association. I did not get my first paycheck as a freelancer until December 27th. And look, I need to be real with you guys for a second. I've been having private conversations with a lot of people in the industry, agency owners, freelancers, and right now, in this late 2025, a lot of people are struggling to find clients. Pipelines are running dry. It's been a long, quiet season for almost everyone that I've spoken with. And obviously, I see people panicking, pivoting, changing their offers, and questioning if everything's dying. Here's what I think you should do. Just take a deep breath. That's what I'm doing. And consider the reason that I'm even telling you this story. And that is to remind you that quiet does not mean dead, even if it feels like it. Quiet just means the market has shifted and the easy clients just aren't there right now. And when things get quiet, most people freeze. They hide, but now it's actually the perfect time to get loud, because while every single person is paralyzed with fear and quiet for the holidays, you can be the one building. And here's the thing, that 3-month gap where I had no clients, it really taught me a lot. It strengthened me as a freelancer and as a person. After all that silence, I signed my first client. And then rapidly, I signed 3 and 4 more. In hindsight, those 3 months were far from failure. I was learning my voice. I was making content. I was connecting with people. I was building a snowball that I just couldn't see rolling. So looking back, here is everything that happened when things were appearing to be quiet. Again, when I say I did everything, I was being maniacal. I was posting on LinkedIn absolutely every single day with images. I was using Canva all the time. I was trying to get attention. I was going to in-person networking events here in Columbus. I was hosting podcasts for the Paid Search Association. And while my LinkedIn posts weren't going viral, I was connecting with people in the comments. My DMs weren't necessarily blowing up, but again, they were triggering conversations. Although, to be honest, I really felt like I was screaming into the void. I used to make a joke that I felt like a giant show pony. I think I even went to HeroConf at this time when I had no clients. But here's the secret that nobody tells you when it comes to getting clients, and this is going to be really important in 2026. Content isn't exactly the net. It's actually the bait. Because when I look at those immediate 4 clients, here is how they closed. One client came to me through that in-person networking event. The person was running their own Google ads, and I just talked to them about it, and they were like, oh my gosh, I've been waiting for an expert. They were just afraid to let it. Clients 2 and 3 actually hosted me and interviewed me for podcasts. And again, the podcast came through my content. So they said, oh, we've seen you speak, we've seen your content. We would love to interview you based on this topic that you posted about. The 4th client actually came from the podcast that I hosted. But I know that none of them would have hired me if they had looked up and Googled me and found a ghost town. They found content, and lots of it. And I had topics and things to talk to them about. And I could say, oh, I wrote this, or I did a video about this, or look over here, I talked about this. So what they really saw was an expert. So if you were just sitting at home applying to Upwork, I did that. That was awful. It felt like such a low spot. You're essentially invisible. And if you're just posting on LinkedIn, I'm going to just tell you, you might starve before the clients come. The strategy that saved me and that's going to save you for 2026 is essentially omnipresence. You have to be everywhere. You do need to get out of the house. You need to go to events or have a lot of Zoom coffees. You need to talk to people in your comments. And you need to focus on being a human being. And that's going to shine through in your content. You also need to keep creating the content. You need to keep posting. But what you need to bring into your content is the conversations that you're having, just like what I'm doing today. I'm talking about the conversations I've been having in the DMs. And that's prompting me to make this video today, reminding you that I've been through this. I've been through cold, dry times in my business, and I survived them. Not only that I survived them, I come to enjoy them today. And as I said in a video yesterday, content is really, at this point in time, your insurance policy. It's what proves you're legitimate when you first get that meeting. It's what you have to point to. But here's the thing, even if that check hadn't hit for me, I had already been winning and I just didn't know it. Because in those 3 months of failing and feeling like I had no clients and no money, and I was just this giant show horse that was putting out so much stuff that had people just telling me on repeat they love my content but not paying me, I stopped being afraid of the camera. I stopped being afraid to put myself out there. When I started in September, I was overthinking every single word. I thought I had to sit down in this great background with makeup on. I never put makeup on anymore. But by December, and today, I have my voice. I allow my voice to evolve. I'm comfortable. That confidence is today why I can sit here and teach you and tell you I've been through it. Because I was writing and I was posting on TikTok and I was posting on Instagram and I was trying to find out my place with my people. And I eventually landed opportunity and credibility and friendships and networking events. And you cannot buy the credibility and the confidence that I have today. Also, I learned to love the silence. I hate it and I love it. I love getting money and paid. That's obvious. But because I built a content engine and I still am building a content engine and I know how to build a content engine, I don't get afraid of the silence. I know what to do when it's slow. I evolve and I keep building. And I know that action cures anxiety. And all of this today brings me to why I'm filming the video right now today for you. Before Thanksgiving. I've been looking around our industry, in the DMs, in the private panic, in the conversations, and I really realized something. We're so good as an industry at running Google ads, but we're really terrible at telling our own story. And I think we're worse at being vulnerable. And we all tend to blend in with the same information. And I will do a video about the same information thing because I have a lot of thoughts around that. But the content muscle and being vulnerable and being out there and telling that story, it's the one thing that us freelancers and Google Ads people really need to build. We need to build that content muscle. Because frankly, if I didn't have it, I wouldn't have survived. And it's the only reason I'm here today. So I've been making a decision with this channel. I want to show you exactly how to build assets. I want you to do it alongside of me. I'm going to document how I create content, and I'm going to do it out in the open. And I'm going to show you how the content that I create actually gets me clients that I enjoy working with in a business model that meets my needs. And I'm treating this channel as my proof. But for me, it's not only proof, it's fun and it's passion. So for me, I'm doubling down on content in a quiet season. And my brother's in town, and guess what? I'm gonna hang out with him. Maybe I'll talk about it in another video. But in the middle of a content season, which is now my quiet season, or a quiet season equals a content season, I know it is the only way out. I cannot promise you a client tomorrow. I cannot promise you a full pipeline, but no one can. But I can promise you that if you build a huge library of content, you will absolutely never be starting from scratch. Even if it feels like it, even if you pivot, even if you start completely, you are building equity in your own name in the industry, and you're building friendships. And it's a skill that you can use to pivot as many times as you want. So for me, this time of year, I remember my first check came December 27th. 2 years ago, and yours is coming too. Let's work together. Also, by the way, I've talked about it in a couple videos. I have a cohort if you want to join me and make content together. And find me on LinkedIn, make a comment, DM me. You guys know where to find me. I am all over the internet. And happy content creation and happy Thanksgiving.